Hi Libra, here's a general look at your solar chart for October 2015, and may I wish you a happy birthday. It's a powerful time for you this month, and also in the last month towards the end, with the sun in your sign. And I'm going to mention the new moon because it's quite an important one this month, particularly for you as one of the cardinal signs. The new moon is going to be in Libra, and that happens on October the 13th at 19 degrees of Libra, for your information, if you want to know that. This one's interesting because it opposes Uranus, and Uranus is currently in a very long transit in your opposite sign, Aries. So in general, we can have a look again at what Uranus is doing in your chart and has been doing in your chart since 2011 in a sort of a nutshell. And maybe some others in close relationships, you've been finding that you have to keep on your toes, that things have been up and down. It might be a business type relationship, it might be a competitive sort of situation, and you are ducking and diving, or now you see them, now you don't, now they see you, now they don't. It can be that kind of thing. Or it can be that there's an ongoing cycle of change in a partner's life, which has an ongoing, which has a knock-on effect with you in your life, and that will be happening up until 2019 in various different ways. It can also shake loose dead wood as well, in an important relationship, in a close relationship, personal or professional. And then you weigh it up and say, okay, is this really worth the trouble here, whatever's going on? So that is, in a nutshell, some of the sorts of ways of Uranus working during this very long transit in your opposite sign. Now, for the new moon this month, that might mean that you can, or you're coming into a time when there's a fresh start or a new beginning for you to initiate improvements, which helps with the balance in such a relationship, whether it's a personal one, a professional one, a business one, a fleeting one, a long-term one, but it's important, whether it's short-term or long-term. So you can be doing something which shift the balance, obviously, in your favor, or be thinking outside of the box related to this other person or being, or it doesn't even have to be a human being. It can be something that you have a very you are not dependent upon, but you interrelate with this other scenario or situation. So this one is neither negative or positive. It just says, okay, take steps over this 4 weeks from the 13th of October to improve things, because that will set up, particularly with this Uranian energy. Now, the Uranian energy being in opposition might mean that you have to, it can be a tricky situation. It may be that this dead wood that's been shaking loose, has been working loose for a while. You've been aware of it, but you've been trying to shore it up. So it might mean that you have to be diplomatic. And of course, you have the prize for diplomacy, you Librans, so you'll know how to play it. It might be working in a different kind of a way as well, because Uranus is a very unconventional energy. It's an energy of having to be flexible and open-minded and putting two heads together and figuring it out, finding a win-win solution maybe with somebody else. And that might be a way which is outside of what you were expecting, what you were thinking, okay, because it might sort of pan out a little bit like that. Usually Uranus holds surprises one way or another. Now, other news from the 24th, up until the 24th, it's a very powerful time for you with the sun in your sign, and it's a good time for you to take a step back, take stock, and figure out how, what the dance of life has been like over this last 12 months, and maybe make some sort of little promises to yourself, or perhaps that's too dangerous, but plans anyway that you were going to experimentally try to achieve for the future. Or maybe it's not like that at all. Maybe it's no ifs, no buts, I am going to do this. So however it is, but this is a time to be more self-centered, doing what is most supportive of yourself and nearest and dearest, and whatever's really, really important to you, aims and ambitions. Mercury's also in your sign, so you will probably be busy mentally. Maybe there's a lot to talk about. Maybe there's paperwork. Maybe there's travel, short distance usually, but it might not be. It might be both, short and long distance for some of you. And it's a time to put those people skills to work. Like I said earlier, you need to be deft and not daft, but deft at outlining your schemes and plans and ideas, maybe in certain situations, in a negotiation type situation maybe. And there just could be more to get your head around, more dotting of I's and crossing of T's, particularly as Mercury is retrograde still until the 9th. Mercury's been retrograde since last month. So that does slow things down a little bit, and doesn't mean that you get a chance to, because things weren't just going lickety-split really, really fast, it gives you a chance to kind of, okay, think about something again, take another look at something, rethink something, that sort of thing. And maybe, as I say, putting your head together with somebody else. There can be quite a lot coming at you, though, in the information exchange that you feel a bit scattered. So do be aware that you need to deliberately take some quiet time for yourself. And until the 9th, Venus is still in this area she's been in since June the 6th. Warming group relationships, making, any kind of group effort supportive or lucrative, or you making contacts and friends, and that's been really very good, enabling others or others enabling you in some way. Team efforts, very beneficial over this very, very long transit of Venus there since early June, and just generally positive experiences there. And then from the 9th, Venus finally moves out of there in this from this exceptionally long transit, and goes back into her normal cycle of about 3 weeks. And she moves then into the sign before yours, Virgo. And that means that you will be playing a more supportive role, that you will be keeping your uncertain feelings to yourself about a thing, about an idea, about a person, about something. And you'll tend to keep these things to yourself because, the jury is still out. It's a little bit like that, maybe in just parts of it. And you will be mulling things over about what value somebody or something is. Maybe it might be a little bit like that. It means that you can also iron out anything that you have been that has been putting you out of balance, maybe health-wise, or maybe it's somebody you're concerned about, because this is the area of service to others as well, and maybe service to a project, not just to a person. Or some other, creature, this is just one of those times when you have to make sure things are, as well as we can, make sure that things are attended to, that they've got the TLC, and also that includes yourself. So it's a good time to pursue some nurturing, healing things at this time as well, and be in an environment which are nurturing and healing as also. Then Mars is in this area as well. Mars is already in there, and meaning that things are busier behind the scenes, you tying up loose ends. You sorting it out, getting things organized in a very dynamic way, but in the wings or backstage, as it were. And again, this need for nurture, this need for healing, this need for immersing yourself in activities which in a way take you out of yourself, or one of the number of ways this can be panning out with Mars here. But you do tend to be self-reflective. You do tend to be kind of just singing a little tune to yourself, and zoning out a little bit every now and again, although Mercury in your sign means that you just have to snap back and keep your mental eye on the ball. But this is the area of art, this is the area of imagination, spiritual practices, intuitive knowing, dreams. So just make this space and say, okay, I want to embrace these things as well as my ordinary everyday survival mind, which is more the Mercury position. And you could feel, it could be easier to push your buttons. You could be feeling a little bit sensitive. You could be harking back to the past. You could be feeling more inward with both Mars and Venus here. But also we have Jupiter here as well. Jupiter's just gone into there last month for a very, very long transit. So more on that in a minute, because that will, so mixing in with Venus and Mars will be sort of upbeat, and maybe give you opportunities there that wouldn't have been there without Jupiter. Then the Sun moves on the 24th into an area to do with your income, to do with what you protect and maintain, property, possessions, goods, resources of various kinds, anything which affects your material security or physical well-being now or in the future is likely to have more of your attention. So very much key themes are centered around stuff and figuring out practical ways in which to improve things, whether it's about stuff or your well-being or somebody else's. And then Jupiter. Well, Jupiter has come into the same area. It's the 12th house, if you want to look that up, where Mars is and Venus is, and that'll be there until next September. And that's a good time for you to be developing projects behind the scenes, in the wings, some master work, something, some work of genius, or something that you're just plugging away at. And then you may be quite pleased to hear that Saturn has finally relinquished her hold on your the sector of your chart to do with finances, in general material security, so property, possessions, anything that you've had to be responsible for, maintain, and protect, or trying to expand, all of that. All of that basic stuff, roof over the head, food on the table, making ends meet, so on and so forth. And Saturn has now gone back into Sagittarius until late December 2017, meaning that same hard work and focus is now shifting into the area of communications and is now in a much more flowing, easy angle to your sun sign, the area of communications and education. So that is where you've got to really concentrate your attention, your focus at times, as with all the outer planets. There's this kind of waveform. So they will be felt mostly when they are hitting an important point or planet or the sun in your chart by degree over the long transit. So during this time here, you should be developing your communication skills. You should be developing yourself through speaking or writing maybe, or through any other medium of self-expression. Through the arts. You should be perhaps signing up for a course, studying hard, or being the teacher, you being the one who is sharing the knowledge and is structuring it. You've got to regularly and routinely do these things in communication. So regularly and routinely deal with more paperwork maybe, regularly and routinely be developing your communication skills, your media skills, that type of thing, and perhaps dealing more with deadlines, perhaps growing your database, your network of contacts in quite a serious, disciplined, regular, reliable way. And also this area is to do with travel as well. So it could be any of those things, and that will be communications equipment or vehicles as well. You need to just keep an eye on because sometimes they will pose problems. But and just getting your head around how things work really in communications equipment too, if you're anything like me. So any of these areas will be your key to success over the long term. You might also be learning that certain truths that you thought were written in stone are only perceptions, either your own or others. During this long transit here. You Librans born the 23rd to the 28th of September, or with 0 to 5 degrees rising, going to feel this energy the most. And I mentioned Jupiter before. Jupiter has gone into the background area until next September. So this is a very good time for you to be learning and developing things in a background sort of a way, getting ready. So harking back to the past a bit, tying up loose ends, but getting ready for when Jupiter finally comes into your sign, which will be in 2016, September. And maybe wanting to heal things linked to the past, perhaps looking for a more nurturing, healing sort of lifestyle. Maybe that. Growing into a deeper understanding of others, maybe as well, looking into their psychology or their emotional patterns, or indeed looking into your own and realizing how certain behaviors have always been counterproductive. Jupiter is a generally upbeat energy, so you've got Mars and Venus in there for a much shorter time. However, they're all lined up there together this month. So you can be growing from within in quite a dynamic way. A lot can be going on, setting things up, sorting things out, putting things to rest, whatever it is in that background area there. And maybe it's not like that. Maybe it is just you stepping up to the plate because you are the enabler. You are the one that's going to be there for others to lean on. You are the support. Maybe it's a bit like that, or indeed, if you've been in a sort of a spiraling, a downward spiral of late for some reason or another. Because remember, your sign being a cardinal sign, you have Uranus and Pluto very strongly affecting your sign, and sometimes you can feel a bit fed up. So that might mean that this is a time for you to really look at what it is that is standing in your way, and try to get out of your own way, because this area where there's huge emphasis is about your unconscious, your subconscious, and what's been sort of indoctrinated into your psyche from childhood, really. So, and however small you feel something is, however modest you are about an achievement, remember that if you feel good and right about it, if you feel as though you're just that little bit lighter or a little bit clearer through what you've done, that adds to the pool of light and goodwill for us all, because that seems to be the way it works. Healing spiritual practices very strong over this long transit of Jupiter here. Also arts, anything to do with artistic work, tapping into the imagination, tapping into the collective unconscious, the archetypes. This is a great time to be doing that. And of course, all things which help and heal in a holistic spiritual kind of way, like Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, and whatever else. And you early Librans or Libra risings, or those born the 4th to the 10th of October, or with from 11 to 17 degrees rising, will feel this energy the most during this forecast period. And I did mention Uranus earlier, saying that you've got a very long-term transit of that planet going through your opposite sign, and it will be affecting Librans born around about, because this is not absolute, it'll be within a day or two of and a degree or two what I'm saying here, because it depends on your natal chart, it depends on which year you were born. But around about the 10th to the 14th of October, or with 17 to 20 degrees rising, you're going to feel the energy of Uranus the most this month. And Pluto hasn't moved a great deal. You Librans born the 5th to the 10th of October with 12 to 14 degrees, you're going to feel the energy of Pluto. Pluto is at the root of your chart, meaning it's sometimes it's all change and shifting, and it's quite radical, fundamental change, maybe some sort of deep shifting within you to do with the roots of your life, parents, where you're located on the globe, where you feel you should be, and for what reasons, and with whom. Anyway, that's it for October, and may I apologize to any of you who've written to me. I'm speaking to you in August, by the way. We've discovered a broken link on my website. I wonder where all the emails had gone. So if you have emailed me, I haven't seen your emails. And when my web person gets back from his holidays, that's going to be fixed. And I think it's probably been out for a while. So yeah, that's just to let you know about that. And also, if you want to check up on any little bit of what I've just been saying, the basics of this is written up on my website, DianaGarland.com. And I will, and also you might be interested in listening to your moon sign or your rising sign forecasts as well. And I'll see you the next time.